going on YouTube? This is Kaput Avenue Studios with another video tutorial dealing specifically with iTunes. Now, this one was brought up by myself. I got the idea because I was looking to do something with this and update how things were going in my world, and I had trouble finding the information to do this in a correct way. So I wanted to give everybody an idea. You can see over here that I've got these drives over here, and this drive was initially called Media, and you can see that the capacity is 500 gigs. Well, I recently received a new drive which is now called Media, and you can see that this is, as near as makes no difference, 1 terabyte. And you can see that I've used 855 gigs of the 1 terabyte, which is why it wouldn't fit on this drive anymore, and I had things scattered through removable drives everywhere else. The problem was that the things that were scattered weren't in my iTunes library. And to be honest, the stuff that's in here isn't in my iTunes library either. 7 seasons of Dexter, 4 seasons of Breaking Bad, 20 seasons of Top Gear. They're not in iTunes. They may be converted, but they're not in iTunes. So I needed to move my iTunes library to another drive. And I wanted to find a clean way of doing it, because everything that I've done in the past, built up my album art, my movies, and everything else. I wanted to make sure everything stayed and didn't have any problems. Now, some of these did lose album art, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, the first thing you want to do when moving an iTunes library is you want to find its original location. In most places, it's going to be on your main hard drive under Music, iTunes. Now, this is where normally it would be. If you just have a regular, say, iMac or MacBook Pro or whatever, or you just installed a brand new OS onto, like, say, an old machine and you didn't transfer any data, it's going to automatically place it inside Music. If you did move your library or change its location with a fresh install, but you need to move it again, you have to go under Preferences, Advanced, and it says iTunes Media Folder Location, and it's going to give you whatever. If you click Change, you can point it to another location. But if you haven't moved anything yet, there's not going to be anything there, and everything's going to come up as messed up. So what you need to do is you need to open up, say, your new drive and your old drive, and what you would need to do is you would need to grab the folder and copy that to the new location. Okay? Now, when you copy this to the new location, it's going to say things like, oh, it's got 500 gigabytes to transfer, it's going to take 4 hours. It is a long process. I suggest doing that before you go to bed or before you leave for work, unless it's something you take with you. But you got to find the time somewhere to transfer the two from one location to the other. Once it's there, you come into iTunes and you go under Preferences like we did, the Advanced tab. You click on Change and you point your it to the drive and the location of that folder. Okay? And then that's what should come up, whatever your volume thing is labeled. And then you're directing iTunes to look for media there. But that doesn't do it. There's one other added trick you need to do, and that is you need to go up here into File, and you need to go to Library, and then click on Organize Library. Now, this also is going to take a long time, and what this is going to do is it's going to transfer everything over from the old location to the new location, and it's going to make sure it takes everything it possibly can, from album artwork to playlist numbers, and number of times a thing has been played, to your ratings, to your reviews. It's going to take everything. and it's going to make sure it stays organized, and it's going to place things in its proper folders, and it's going to work very well. I have a few playlists here, as you can see, and it transferred everything over. I don't I don't have everything the way it was. There's my top 25 played, and you can see my son took over the Muse playing because he's in love with them, and 110 times playing his favorite song. It's wonderful. But there are, once you do that organization, everything comes here. So your the amount of times a thing is played, or the rating of the album, is going to show up. If you don't care about that, you don't necessarily need to do it. I found that I had problems where iTunes wouldn't look at the new location and find the actual files, even though they were copied. They weren't just redirected. They were actually copied to this location. So I did the organization thing, and it worked. The only thing that happened for me, as you can see, is that album art kind of went away. So all you have to do is, find an album that you know iTunes has someplace. Click on Get Album Artwork, and it should come up and give you your artwork. Sometimes it takes a while because it has to search through some things. There it is. Now it's up. And then if you want to, you can highlight all the ones that are here and just hit Get Album Artwork, and it'll go through however many hundreds you're missing. One little side note: if you're a musician and your stuff isn't up on iTunes, you didn't upload any artwork, or you have bootlegs, or you've got some custom artwork for custom CDs and things, it'll make the process quicker if you're aware that they're not going to come up, because iTunes will search and then give you an error message, and it's a big pain. But once you transfer it over, this little detail of just having to find the artwork again, you just go through it, you do it, and hopefully everything will work out for you. So if you ever needed to transfer your iTunes album or your iTunes library to another folder to keep it organized, but also to gain more space, then that is how you would go about doing it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below in the comments section. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.